This show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host this morning, and I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning, Keith. I accidentally turned the cameras on while y'all was.
Oh, so y'all saw it?
Yeah, I think they might have seen it. I don't know how much of it.
There you go. There you go. It's going to be evidence. Come in here yelling at me.
Was I yelling at you?
Yeah, you. Did y'all see that transformation? Do y'all recognize this person?
Wow.
Walk past me, go out the door, come back in, and then yell at me for not speaking to her.
Because you are a snob. If don't nobody speak to you first, you never say, hey, good morning. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? I always acknowledge, oh, my colleague has joined us. Hey, Keith, how you doing? I get your fake 2 thumbs up. And then this morning, I said, I'm just going to test it. If I don't say nothing to him, he is not going to say nothing. I walked all out the studio, took care of some stuff, walked back by. You still didn't say nothing. So, of course, I needed to come in and flag that for you. How dare you not speak to me? Whew. And then you started hollering.
Brought to you by.
Like, you done yet? No, I ain't done.
This session is brought to you by A&J Liquor.
A&J Liquor.
And another thing.
Not another thing. And another thing.
He gonna start hollering. Don't you be hollering at me before my program starts? You making me nervous.
Have you ever heard one of those arguments where it ain't making no sense? Now people just yelling. They just yelling. The words ain't making no sense.
So, you know,
yelling.
And I want to be clear. This is all about salutations.
you know that kind of sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher when he was talking to Charlie Brown.
Yeah, neither one of them talking about.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Program, trying to get my mind right, trying to get ready to
Keith,
serve the people, the people.
In
And here
Keith's
you
defense,
come.
In Keith's defense, show him the thumb, man, that you give her. You know,
I'm sorry, I didn't even do it this morning.
keep your head up. Stay in the game, little buddy.
Hey, wait, but he wound up to it. He'd be like,
When he do that.
He's
shaking. He make me so sick when he does it.
that cat wound up to it.
But he is a total cancer.
Let's do
You're cancer, right?
let's
Keon, he a total cancer. Just such a brat. If you don't speak to him, he will not speak. He is so stuck up and snobby. He get on my nerves.
I love this woman so much. I love this woman so much.
What love is.
Wait. I was just saying just how toxic this relationship is. Michelle called me to do something, and you know how I always shut Michelle down? Just say yes.
Oh yeah.
So there's this pregnant pause, right? Because she was ready to fight. She done taped her hands all up, put the Vaseline on. I just went like, yes.
Hey, because she was looking at it like the old church song. And your answer will be yes.
Yes.
Lord, yes.
I'm just saying, like, I don't ask for much. So when I ask,
This sister.
what?
This sister.
Huh?
You don't ask for much.
I don't.
I'm gonna.
A simple
You
greet.
sound like my mother.
Keith.
My mother said I don't ask for much.
Keith, I
said,
know
but
she's
when
not
you
going
do ask,
be here for the full extent of the show, but if you could give her that mic and you take the you don't have to move.
Don't get
You
up.
could have just
I'll
given her the mic.
Don't move, because I ain't gonna be here.
Yeah.
oh, that's right, because security's on his way. So keep her talking. Security. keep her talking.
Keep her talking.
And just
Oh,
hey, you know what happened? You know what happened,
setup.
Debo? What really got you in trouble was that Geo.
The Geo prison. Oh, really? That's where we going?
That's where
Yes.
that was Geo.
I would
Say that's what got him in
Got
trouble.
you in trouble.
Why are you driving?
I would have pulled you
Imagine it
over
was
too.
cost effective.
Anybody
Oh,
that's
yeah.
driving a Geo prison is suspect.
No. What was that car that Cole used to always drive on Martin?
The
Yeah,
Pacer.
Yeah.
The
I had-
Pacer.
By the way,
I had a
speaking
Pinto.
of Pacer,
My first car was a
built here in Milwaukee.
A Pinto.
Really?
American Motors.
Really?
yeah, right down the street on East Capitol.
Just so blue.
That's
collar.
probably why they ain't here no more.
Well, just so blue collar.
It is. And then when you
Just
think about
a Pacer. That was our
Man,
claim
that
to
was one of the
fame.
Man, my
ugliest
first-
cars.
It was atrocious.
My
How's your
first
son
car
doing?
was a sky
Is he
blue
excited?
Ford Pinto.
Excited
Is
about
he
what?
geeked?
Pinto?
About
Yeah.
Alabama State today? Yeah, he ready.
Do
to
they even
watch.
make Pinto?
And you know the
anymore?
crazy thing about
I wish I still had mine because they might have a little value to them.
Yeah, because
My first car was a
We had
Pinto,
a
Keith.
whole conversation.
Yeah, y'all having one
About
too.
the
I'm
Pinto.
listening,
Yeah.
going, "What the hell?"
Like, what's going
We're
on?
having a whole
Um,
conversation.
Hey Debo, can you put it up for me?
What's that?
That-
That thing. Hang on.
put
Let me
that
get
thing
it.
up.
Let me
That
get it.
That
Let me get it. Let me get
Yeah,
it.
that thing,
Put that thing up.
That thing.
There it is. Bam.
Bam! Bam!
Really?
What am I looking at there? Let's read the caption. Mount wins.
Yeah.
Mount wins 83-72 over American University. And let me say something about American University. That is one of the most beautiful campuses
Is it?
in America. Oh man, it is gorgeous. It's up on Mass Avenue in DC, Northwest. It's right up the street from the Naval Observatory,
Mhm.
Embassy Row. It is a gorgeous campus.
I
Embassy
thought that
Road.
was American Baptist at
American
first.
Baptist is no.
Man, does that D down
Yeah,
at the bottom
yeah,
mean they got Duke next?
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what it means.
Yeah.
So when I was asking Michelle how her son was doing, because Alabama State gets Auburn, where they playing in
Yes.
Birmingham? Where they playing?
I don't know. I didn't check to see where the
That's
game
what-
is going to be.
But that's basically a home game for Duke. They playing in Raleigh.
Hmm.
Not that we had much of a chance.
But you really ain't got a chance
Really
with
don't
all
have
of the
a
fans.
chance to go up there.
And for the fans that's coming to see that team, Mount Mary, it's
Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's.
Mount Mary is
Let me
on
make
her
sure I
line.
say it right. Mount St. Mary. It's going to be hard for them to even get tickets, man, because playing in Raleigh, that's a Duke, North Carolina.
Well, what
state.
happens is the school gets a
Yeah, you
certain
get so
allotment.
many.
You get a certain allotment.
Yeah.
They played here in the tournament.
Oh, okay.
One year they played Michigan State here. So when you think about it, it's a school of 2,100 students.
What is the concept of that, man? Because I know that there are Final Four or let's say NCAA games going on downtown as well.
Yes, sir. On Friday.
Why are they having teams play in other cities and then your
So that's how the
team is
tournament
going
works.
somewhere?
Because it's a
You
huge
spread
tournament.
the money around.
Yeah, and it's a huge
Marquette-
tournament.
Marquette's hosting.
Yeah.
Marquette's the host team. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
spread the money around.
But
So-
Marquette is not playing here.
No, Marquette, they play.
I think they playing in Denver. No,
they're out in
that's
Denver.
that's
Colorado.
That's Wisconsin that's playing in
right.
Denver.
Who's playing? Because whoever it is, they got Montana.
Yeah.
Right. So whoever it is, because they both got to get used to the
So let me say
thin
this
air.
Yeah.
for Alabama State, for Mount St. Mary's, these schools, your conferences make the money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why, everyone has this shared thing. This is one of the reasons why Northwestern won't leave the Big Ten.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
the doormat when it comes, especially football, basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But they get that TV.
It's
money.
lucrative.
You talking over in Evanston?
Yep. And when
Northwestern,
you look at I could at Mount St. Mary's, we used to play in a Quonset hut, literally. You know those Quonset huts they had in the Marine Corps? That's what we played in.
Wow.
Right. It was called the
Really?
hut. Right. And then and I didn't realize, just doing a little research, we had finished number 2 in the country in 1981 in Division II. And so then they went Division 1. You join the conference. That's where the money is. When I first got to the Mount, Lakeisha Butler's alma mater, University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Mhm.
Everybody remember them because I don't know who they beat in the first round. They had a first round. But look, I'm gonna tell you, if you the 16th seed, Farley Dickerson, I think, was the last team to do it a couple of years ago when they knocked off number 1. So
Well, I'm totally about keep hope alive.
yes.
Although I want to
so
be
for the
realistic.
Hornets,
But
go Hornets.
I am proud of them. They haven't done this since 2011. So I am thrilled for them. They get to, add this to the list of accomplishments. So we'll see. We already know the Auburn game gonna be for real. They're the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem.
And you know
Yeah.
what? The great thing about this is
What a great shot, by the way.
Of what?
You and Keith together, getting along. In the same frame, you know what I mean? You guys are conversing, and
I don't like that I look way shorter.
it's the angle of the camera.
I
It's the
really
angle.
enjoy
It's the
this,
angle.
this
I don't,
perch,
I don't like this.
this perch of
I don't like this
superiority that I have here
imbalance.
right
So
now.
wait, you see that shot right there that you see now? So watch the next shot. You'll see that it looks totally different.
I know. He's looking down on me.
Let me do, because I know you were talking about Daryl Farmer
Yes.
and Daryl Farmer. Now, you guys who I'm trying to remember the year they went. He was playing in Madison, and Madison won the state championship, but they had to vacate it because Daryl was too old. Nobody knew. And
He was too old.
Yeah, they found out after the fact that he was too old.
Seriously?
That was that Madison team with Chucky Johnson and Daryl Flowers. That was a great team.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And then he was
So-
my
so
neighbor
complicated.
when I lived on Marshall, and I knew we used to go play ball at Cass Street. And so when I heard him outside bouncing the ball, I knew it was time to go.
Really?
Good brother, man. I'm trying to think the last place I saw him. I want to say it was at the Last Dragon.
Are you serious?
I think the last time I saw him, I
That's
was him at the
crazy.
courthouse, but I think the
Mm.
last time I saw him and spoke to him was when we went to see the Last Dragon.
Well, I'm glad I did have an opportunity to see him
brother.
because the next to the last time I saw him was at the Tax and Take meeting. And then the next day I came on the radio station and I called him Queen Rick. And
Is there anybody?
because
Is there anybody?
he was just so disrespectful and out of pocket, man. I know you mad, but you disrespecting old people, elders. Cut it out. Do this better. And so I was hot when I came to the radio station, and he
So do you
got
take
back
blood?
to him that
Do
I
you
had said
play?
it.
You take blood pressure medication?
I do.
You need it.
I do. Because of people like you.
Because this morning I was going like, man, I smelled the smoke when I opened the door.
But there was none because I only was having that last part of the conversation about the young brother being blind. I mean, and all I just, what did I do? Hey, just
You need to keep going. I'm blind. he said, when you looking at me, he said, no, I hear your voice because I'm blind.
just the utter, and then you're gonna tell somebody repeat what I said. I'm the law, and I'm not repeating that. Partner, don't take me to jail.
Man,
I'm not.
that's almost like saying, "Who's the master?"
Yeah, that's
So
what
no,
exactly what it felt like. Like I'm not. Hey, bro, get your handcuffs. Take me on downtown.
Yeah,
And let me deal with it another way. Because
you
me and you,
gonna pay
we ain't
me.
gonna keep going back and forth
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
Now that's one thing I would say about my brother. That's my brother. We didn't have to go downtown about that boy so many times. And my brother be like, I'm not today. So yes, Mr. Parris,
And
my blood pressure,
and let me
I was able to donate.
let
So
me
it was low enough. Because normally they don't let me donate blood because my blood pressure.
you know
is too high.
and I appreciate something Craig was saying on Tuesday, but we really do take our fiduciary responsibility in terms of information very seriously. And Craig had texted me yesterday when we was talking about the egg. The sister was right. The eggs that we eat are not fertilized. Okay, that means that she ain't come in contact with a rooster.
Right.
So there's two types. You have the roosters, the hens that are basically hatching chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're fertilized, but the eggs that we get are usually not.
Right.
So that was
You didn't.
the
Who
big
didn't know
difference.
that?
Huh?
You didn't know that?
I did. Unlike some people I know.
Yeah,
When I don't know, I
I
will
saw
say
that
I don't
pregnant
know.
pause. No, because it paid you to say that you didn't. You didn't know that?
It hurt me to say.
It hurt me to say.
Because we know you pride yourself.
As they said at the Mount, Keith Parris doesn't know everything. Keith Parris knows almost everything.
Really? Someone said that?
Oh man, they used to get
Who said that?
my classmates at the Mount.
Did they say he thinks he knows almost everything?
Oh yeah,
or did they say
I
he
always
knows?
sounded like I did, and I just think about all the
Your
relationships.
delivery is excellent.
I think all of
I want
my
to be clear.
a lot of my relationships suffered,
Because of your
thinking I know everything.
arrogance, that you know everything.
I'm one of the most humble people
You're
you ever meet.
snobbish. I'm on a different level than you commoners. Attitude. That did you say kiss the ring?
Can I borrow a ring?
You know what? And on that note, y'all have a good show. 'Cause I'm about to go. Oh, okay. I'm about to go to jail.
You're always about to go to jail.
But I never
We
go.
always got GoFund, raise bail money.
But
for you.
I never go. So it speaks to my ability to control.
Call, welcome to the program.
That's me. I wanted to get it before Michelle's gone. You hear me, Michelle?
I do.
You guys all have beautiful voices. You guys just don't. I don't know if you know. I told you, Michelle. You guys are incredible. Whenever I think of myself, I get all high and yelling like that, and I have to remember. I got to try to relax. But anyway, no, you guys sound like you're really professional. And you should know that.
Wait a minute, John. You said we sound like we're professional. We strive.
What'd you say?
We sound professional.
Did you feel that shot?
I've kind of felt the shot.
Y'all sound professional.
Sound like y'all professional.
Thank you, John.
Wait, what did he just say? I missed it.
He basically was saying you was taking a shot, John.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
that
No,
was-
I
Not that you guys
but,
are professional, but y'all sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no. Oh,
Y'all
no.
sound.
Professional.
No, okay, I'm a little slow. But I wanted to let you know that I never mean to be condescending. I learned so much, I don't compliment
Oh,
you. Yesterday I was
wow,
listening
that's
to you. Keith, yesterday you were so incredible. And that eggs thing, man, I almost grossed myself out. I tried to listen. I tried to look it up. Oh God,
I know everybody was
couldn't
looking up that egg.
I couldn't stand it. And I'm vegetarian, so I'm trying not to be vegan. I think veganism is bad, but I am vegetarian, so I'm trying not to be vegan and eat eggs because I know they're really good for you. But I just have a hard time looking at it. But at any rate, Michelle, like when you told me, remember when I said to you that you just blew my mind when you're talking about how Lena Taylor and you were doing these things in the middle of the night, or it just sounded like you're doing everything all over the town. And I thought, oh my Lord, I can't believe it. You know, it's like being a doctor and somebody's calling you with their sore toe. You talk about going to the funeral and the marriage. Like, oh my Lord, I couldn't be able to do that. But I love listening to you guys. We have our little goals at it, but if we don't do that, we won't know what's going on in the world. Like you talking about the bumps this morning. That guy, whoever put that order down, I don't care what party, that was ridiculous, and I hope they rescind that.
But you know what? That was also an issue with under Chief Breyer.
The police department.
With police department that they wanted everyone to be clean.
But it's corporate America too.
Right. Yeah, and I could because I struggle with acne, I could appreciate that, and how you take care of your skin. Yeah, I mean,
it's hard with the whiskers.
It was interesting. I don't know who was talking about when they got the line. I know people when they do the razor line. Yeah, you do the razor line.
The what guys?
Razor line where they would go up. And
perfect.
It would be
like
a
your
more
perfect
precise cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, your perfect cut, right. And then they get the bumps above where the perfect cut is?
You get the bumps because of the
because you cut it right where
well,
it's
because
perfect.
if you had curly hair, what happens is the bumps
that's me.
Bumps are caused by the hairs curling up,
oil
building up there, and then that's where you get the bumps. Now here's one of the ways that helped me, or even when I started shaving my head. Witch hazel. Because what happens is you need to clean all that oil out. What's it called? What's it?
And
you're not gonna get
excrement or something.
No.
Excretion. Yeah, excretion.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
what it does is it clears out the
pore. An exfoliant.
Exfoliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna get it. And you see that with women because what they do is, especially when you wear makeup, you got to clean all that out because your pores can get blocked. And if you're younger, your skin is oilier, and so that was a real issue. But I struggled with acne. Man. Acne was tough. I still have scar tissue on my face from the acne, so I can appreciate that. And part of it was just how acne spreads. It's really you rubbing your face. And
you got to watch that. Oh man, you can't. As soon as you start scratching your face and your beard, and just go back to the bathroom, just put a washcloth or a paper towel, and then it's better. I tried.
My mom used to. There was a guy she dated, and he became. As a matter of fact, he cut my bush. He cut my afro, and I cut my fro. It was Hillard Lewis. And
your bush in your hair.
Yeah, we called afros bushes. So cut my bush. And
the education continued, John.
Yeah, not that bush.
I never heard that one.
And so,
jeez, come on, family show.
After 9, is it really? I listen to y'all. Is it really?
So, but what he yelled at me. He said, "You shave?" Well, yeah. So what do you shave with? I said, soap. He went ballistic, and I'm gonna use his words because I can use this word. He goes, "So you gonna use the same thing you wash your ass with on your face?" I was like, "Wow, dude, I never looked at it that way." But no, skincare, especially for
that
men,
was rough.
Yeah, that was real rough. But no, it's always been an issue, especially again for Black men or anybody who has curly hair. Whereas me. We use that term nappy. Nappy is tightly curled. I don't know what George was referring to because you never hear me talk about good hair. All hair is good to me. That's how I was raised. No.
Well, I think not using the term nappy more.
Nappy?
I think
so. Nappy is just the natural, like when it's nice and tight, and I tried. You guys are gonna laugh at this because I didn't grow up with a lot of Black people. But there's this one boy out and I'm in 7th grade in Mequon way back in the 60s. So I asked him if I could comb his hair. I know this sounds funny, but I did, and he let me. And I couldn't get that thing through. I think it was his comb. I think it was an afro, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
You need to see Michelle's high school pictures.
Oh, really? Okay.
She had an incredible afro. Oh man, she had a beautiful afro.
I'm still trying to figure out.
So John, let me do a teachable moment.
Yeah, because he's right on the edge.
Woo, Jack.
Like when you talked about asking the guy to comb his hair, and you said you guys are gonna think it's funny. Trust me, most Black people wouldn't think it's funny.
Yeah, well, this is the 60s, and he knew we were buddies. So
I'm just saying though,
I know what you
because
mean.
I just, in trying to help people have these conversations.
I know what you mean.
You know, and
appreciate it.
I was listening last night to Adam Kinzinger. He was on
Okay.
talking about them getting rid of a lot of DEI stuff, and he
Yeah.
was saying, you know, because we should be colorblind, and you know, he was
Yeah.
just being all impassioned, and I was like, Adam, and I was really frustrated that the young congressman that was on the show with them didn't know to do this. Adam, to be colorblind is to be deficient. Is something wrong
You-
with you? That's why
you
most
made a-
people are not colorblind. It means that
You
there's
made
a
a really
problem.
good. Remember when you and I were talking about the police with the lady saying, I rebuked you?
Yes.
That was really important. You did a really good job that day because that really stunned me. The way you explained that, it just changed my whole attitude. And then
Well,
we had a nice conversation. Remember, we were kind of talking about the specifics.
yep, we
That was
did.
really important. That
So-
was really important, that kind of stuff.
Well, John, I'm gonna get out of Keith's way.
Okay.
He's puckering up the lips, saying that you and I are
All right.
having
Yeah,
way
here-
too much of a love
here.
fest here. He's jealous. But I do
Okay.
want to tell you,
Yes.
if we agree on everything, then we're not having real conversations. We're not supposed to agree on everything, and that I
Yeah.
do appreciate the willingness to listen and to call in and to be engaged, because some people won't do that at all.
Yes,
And so
that's
just
what I remember
understand,
about you.
even though, you know, I may disagree with the point, or I might actually come for you straight up one day, it does
Yeah.
not mean that I don't value what you
Yeah.
add to the show. So I just wanted to make sure
I
I say that as
appreciate it.
well.
That is really nice.
All right,
I
so
really
I'm gonna get out the way
appreciate
because Keith is mad because
Okay.
nobody's
it. I can
complimenting
hear his
him.
music. Yeah.
He did
Okay.
compliment
Talk
me.
It
to you.
wasn't a
Have fun.
real one.
He said
He just said
he
it
said
so
I
he could get
sounded
to me.
professional. I took
He,
that as a
he
compliment.
just said it so he could get to me.
Oh.
Let me
Boy, this is love fest.
Michelle, there's a song, man. I'm gonna play it in your honor if we can find it. Luther Vandross did. Michelle?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
It is absolutely beautiful. I love it.
I just a little tear came to my eye.
Really, a whole tear.
Yeah, look,
Oh, it was a half a tear.
still got a little moist. Yeah.
Show on that Indian, you know, with
Keep America Beautiful.
yeah, that one little tear run down. That's Keith.
That's what you thought you needed to chime in with.
Right.
Absolutely, that's what it made me think of.
This show is so.
One last tear. Oh man,
I thought you was gonna say know your history.
that's coming up. Stay tuned. A&J Liquor.
Have a good show, family. Have a good show.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. The phone line's open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Hey, Debo, do me a favor, man.
What's that?
Put that thing back up.
You gonna put that thing back up?
Put that thing back up.
Put that thing back up, man. We're going to take
You
a break. We'll be right back.
Proud papa over there.
That's the
Yeah,
choir.
man, that's the Holy Redeemer version. Michelle. Yeah. That's the tenor section.
That's Thomas Wiley style.
Rest in peace, brother Robert Williamson. Robert Williamson, but
he did that too.
boy, he was on that front row, boy. He'll open his mouth and stick his tongue out. Why are you singing like that?
What is wrong?
I did not realize that this is a Beatles song.
Is it?
Yeah. This is written by John.
We
Lennon
sang it
and
in my
Paul McCartney.
gospel choir at South Division. It was Michelle Maybell son tres.
Yeah.
Because it's
French.
Yeah, I thought it was a French. Yeah, I thought it was a
No,
French.
yeah, I thought you knew it was a.
I didn't know that was a beat. See, I've said the most consequential group in American history is the Beatles. I'm not saying they're the greatest.
Ringo Starr just was
Ringo,
at the
yeah.
Grand Ole Opry. I think he's 84.
Like we can hear you over
Oh,
there.
you can't?
Oh, I can hear you.
The audience can't hear you.
I don't appreciate the harassment after my song just played. But Ringo Starr was just at the Grand Ole Opry singing country.
Wow.
And so, like, that's his, he said, I've always loved country music. And it was like, so you think people think it's crazy for you, of all people, to be singing it? But yeah, he was just talking about, but he said that the Beatles would have been nothing without Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Because Paul McCartney, he said, like,
Yeah.
they probably would have only had 3 albums because they was chilling. And Paul McCartney was like, gotta get in the studio, gotta go to work, gotta do this. So he said that they really owe a lot of their success to Paul.
There is when you think about, just like I said, the impact. Now people can go back and forth about but I'm saying the Beatles, and then post 1964 when they really started writing music and some of the great songs that they wrote. But I did not know. I always thought this was someone else, but this is actually the Beatles. Look at you.
Yeah.
Wow. Michelle Maybell.
Is it ready?
Michelle.
I felt that.
He was on camera. Stop it.
That's the choir tenor version.
You know, it was interesting. You were talking about Thomas, and at his funeral, one of the guys got up and they said that, Thomas didn't know how to play. And my thought was, when I got up, I said, no. Thomas was a trained musician.
He sure was.
Thomas played it the way that it was
Taught to
written.
him. Yeah.
Because Thomas could read music.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with Bishop Hines, and we were kind of talking about that. And we were saying that in a lot of ways, jazz, like gospel, would be wrong in terms of music theory. But, when you look at it, and so I pointed out that a lot of times people, and it was something in that conversation, it was a really great conversation to be able to talk to Bishop Hines about music. And he said that one of his regrets was that he never learned how to read music. And at that point, he was saying, now, you just sing it in the computer does your notes and all those things. But to be able, and then to just see how great a lot of these not formally trained musicians are, the ear, I mean, the whole piece. But if you look at folks who, I always talk about Ramsey Lewis. Ramsey Lewis was doing into his 60s where he was still working on technique. And to be able to, because I'm gonna tell you, people forget that a piano is a percussion instrument. And amazing how I could play it, and Jermaine and I are playing it, but Jermaine might have something I don't have. Jermaine has that touch. How you,
it's a feel.
It's a feel that you have where, some, because again, you're supposed to strike it, right? That's what makes it percussion. But when you hear people out, and you just know people who are, I'm gonna just say not naturally gifted, because there is a certain natural gift that you have. But to be able to formalize it in such a way. If I had not been so resistant to learning notes when I did sextet, talk about throwback. I don't know if you ever had to do sextet. I think it's called the reed recorder. We used to have these little plastic flutes. And that's how you learn. That was the first musical thing you got. And then guys would move to drums. But but I could never master the sax set, and part of it was my resistance to learning how to read music.
Man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I used to get kicked out of band class purposely because I didn't want to be there, and because I had this idea in my head that I was gonna go to the league and play ball because I was good at. Boy, that car shot up. Jesus. See it over there? It's right over there at the gas station.
Oh yeah.
It's like 9 holes in the car. And I had this idea that I was gonna go to the league, man, because I was good at playing ball. And I remember, and I give him props and shout out, Rodney Henderson. He moved to Arkansas, I believe now. But I used to be over at the house in the yard playing ball with all of my friends, and he used to pop up, and I used to try to hide from him because I knew he was coming to get me so I can practice. And I'm like, I didn't want to practice, so I used to hide, and my mama used to let him come through the house, go get him. So I'd be out there playing ball. He'll come get me and say, hey, man, you got 10 minutes to get yourself together that we going down to the church. And I used to hate it, but now I appreciate it so much, man, because by him sowing into me and imparting into me and you know, realizing what I had before I even saw it. And he pulled it out of me to the point that, you know, I was able to tour and, you know, travel the country. And now here 30 something years later.
But think about it, man, if you could, you know, when Michelle was interviewing Patrice Rushen.
Oh yeah.
And talk about people who get out. I don't know what show I was talking about. Oh man, I'm trying to remember. It was a documentary, and it was Luther. And Nate Adderley Jr.
Oh, okay.
Because those guys who are the musical director,
Yeah.
man, you got to write the orchestration.
Yeah.
You got to do the arrangements.
Yeah.
And so people who are able to be able to do that. I do have a good ear. I'm just not formally trained. I mean, I would sit there and, you know, the whole story about me joining the choir was I didn't join the choir necessarily for the music. I joined the choir because I was 14 and I had a crush. Yeah. And so, you know, I told you we had 100 kids there, right? Yeah. So I'm all up in there. And then I really discovered, man, I love this. And I knew it because when I was in the 6th grade, there was Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra did a concert at Robert Fulton. And they asked us, do we want tickets? I was the only kid that wanted tickets. And so I went to the show, never forget sitting in the auditorium there and listening to that orchestra going, oh, that's the music I hear in movies. And, you know, I love movies, right? Right. So it's always been, I love music. I will sit there, you know, I was talking to someone, I don't know if I had this discussion on air, which one would it be books or music? And I guess it would be books and then music would be 1A in terms, but just be able to hear it. And I couldn't tell you what key is in, but normally, you know, I can get it. I can say one of the things about Roberta Flack, if you read about Roberta Flack, was that Roberta Flack really believed in the purity of the note.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, she you know, you sing that note.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Do that note. If you do that note well, because that note was written. Yeah. You know, and I was watching the sister, it was a movie, and she was doing Amazing Grace. Let me say something about black people in Amazing Grace. Lord. And look, I realized was it John Newton who wrote Amazing Grace, but what black people put on Amazing Grace.
God, listen, I had to play it at a funeral, and when I tell you, it was the longest rendition of Amazing Grace.
You can't get through the first bars.
No, I'm telling you what I went through. So I'm on the organ like, don't they?
And I haven't seen it on the sheet music, but I don't think there's a separation with the A from Amazing.
No.
But man, they be on that A for like 15 seconds. Be on that A.
They hold that thing.
And then I guess some people thought that they were doing it like Aretha did it. Listen to Aretha. Aretha was another one who it was the purity of the note. All these riffs that you see artists do, and God, I love Fantasia, dude. I love Fantasia, that girl. But sometimes it's just kind of
just
sing the note.
Just sing
the note.
1, 2, 3. And
you got a beautiful voice. Sing the note,
and
man.
I teach that when I'm teaching and training. If you sing the note that's given to you, I guarantee you won't be off.
Look, as a former choir director, I am from the Bill Belichick school. Do your job.
That's it.
If you're alto,
sing alto. Man,
if you're soprano, sing soprano.
Like, I don't need the sopranos jumping to altos. I don't need altos jumping to tenor.
And here's the thing, though, about altos, why people love altos, because altos usually get the melody.
The melody.
So they get the best part. They get the best part of the song.
And it's the easiest part.
Right.
So that's like you sing.
And I hope I don't lose any friends, but I would say the laziest section is the alto section.
Because
they get the
best, easiest.
But that's the one you always like. Altos.
Yeah. Where you at?
Yeah. Sopranos kick in. Yeah. Don't let when you got a real strong tenor section. Oh, they go kick in. But those altos, depending on and like I said, somebody bumped into me. They said, "Oh, you went to Metropolitan?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "Yeah, y'all singing parts over there." Oh yeah,
You're supposed to sing parts everywhere.
Yeah,
but y'all had a bad choir though.
It'd be up and down. But when we do our reunions, it's always amazing because we look at each other and go, Have we been like West Side?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about where we had the talent.
Yeah.
But we were everywhere. Yeah. I mean, we were truly teenagers, and then we come back as mature adults and we sing and we go like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember hearing a lot about y'all, Metropolitan Choir, and I remember y'all was somewhere. Can't recall exactly where, but I heard y'all, and I'm like, man, it was a bunch of
y'all. When we really focused, but like I said, we had a lot of other things going on, and being teenagers. My first year in the choir, we did our anniversary, and it was formal. So we come out with the guys were in tuxedos, and the ladies were in formal dresses. Poor Reggie Royal. His mama made his tuxedo.
Was they high water? I can see him with the glasses on.
Crushed. It was like crushed velvet. And Royal put together that tuxedo. But man, we talked about Reggie so bad, that tuxedo, man, because that was the whole thing. When your mama made your clothes, it was like, and it fit. But it was just like, because we went to Shirkos. Everybody remember Shirkos? We went down, had our brown Edwardian 8-button double-breasted, the ruffled shirts. Man, we was clean as the day is long. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. But I'll never forget this. Looked up in the balcony. Because we go to everybody else's anniversaries to hate and to steal. And so looked up in the balcony. And it was Valerie Daniels and then Daryl Hines. And they was checking it out. And they did something. They didn't do exactly, but they did something very similar. So, when it comes to style, I wish we could have won more of those competitions. We were probably the best dress choir there, but man, we went one year. They used to have the Black Expo, and we went down. I guess who won? They won the competition that year was West Side. We all did Dottie Rambo's "He Looked Beyond My Fault." Amazing Grace.
She'll always
be my song of praise. Yeah, that's Dottie Rambo. And man, everybody was doing that. But the thing I loved about West Side was we had Frank Johnson as our minister of music and over us in the youth choir. And Frank Johnson was really into what they used to call hard singing.
Yeah, Frank Johnson.
Yeah, so it'd be in those high keys.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this about Bishop Hines, because he was the musician for West Side. He did it in keys where that choir had the maximum sound.
Yeah.
It was a full sound. Now, nobody compared to Wisconsin Community Choir, because when Wisconsin Community Choir came in, this choir didn't need a warm-up song. Wisconsin Community Choir really reminds me of Ricky Diller's choir, New G.
Now, which one are you talking about? Because there was two Wisconsin Community Choirs.
No, the one that ended up breaking out. We're not talking about the ones that was part of the denomination. They became a community choir. Because my understanding was there was two jurisdictions that had come together, the two jurisdictions to create that choir.
See, because I was in it, so I'm trying to figure out which one. Because
it was
the Wisconsin Community Choir. Then it was the Wisconsin State Youth Choir.
Right. That was still the community choir. Ended up being its own little step, because that would have been Frank Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Jeffrey LaValle.
Yeah.
And they were. Yeah. And then Jeffrey then went. Played for the Prestonians.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Michigan,
Detroit.
Right, to be with one of the guys who was one of the founders of the Full Gospel.
Yep, he was just here.
Floyd.
Last year for my cousin's funeral.
He was here for Thomas's funeral.
Yeah, because
right.
We family, so he flew in. I got a chance to take a picture with him and talk with him, but he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he's one of the. I think he was the first minister of music for Full Gospel.
Yeah, and he played over at. Debo ain't over at Rehoboth too, so he came over to Rehoboth.
They used to be down at New Hope, down on King Drive.
Wow,
New Hope Church of God in Christ, the valleys. But to be able to the talent that we had in the city. I mean, I just Doug had hooked me up with we call him Freddie White, but Fred White. And it was just amazing. It was just amazing, the talent. And some of the people realized they loved their talent level, and they were able to go on to take it on to different levels.
So he's out in LA, right?
Yeah. He just dropped the EP, which is Late at Night.
Nice.
Oh man! All right, you're listening to Community Voice. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see areas of blowing snow at times here for today, with skies becoming mostly sunny and a high into the upper 30s. Breezy northwest winds of 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 40. For tonight, we'll have mostly clear skies and a low around 30. Friday, partial sunshine develops, breezy high 54 degrees. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 39. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Vujcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
AURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. The Federal Reserve has decided to hold interest rates steady. Chair Jerome Powell indicated the central bank is closely monitoring the economic impacts of the Trump administration's policy initiatives.
Looking ahead, the new administration is in the process of implementing significant policy changes in 4 distinct areas: trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. It is the net effect of these policy changes that will matter for the economy and for the path of monetary policy.
Powell emphasizing that while there have been notable developments in trade policy, uncertainty remains a key factor.
While there have been recent developments in some of these areas, especially trade policy, uncertainty around the changes and their effects on the economic outlook is high. As we parse the incoming information, we're focused on separating the signal from the noise as the outlook evolves.
The Fed's decision comes as unemployment remains stable at 4.1%, while recent indicators show consumer spending may be moderating. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
On April 1st, we have a choice to make. Donald Trump wants us to elect Brad Schimmel to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk's even spending millions to elect him, because they know Schimmel will do whatever they want, even if that means letting them cut health care and food for hungry kids, or eliminate the Department of Education. That's why we need to vote for Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars where they belong. And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will. And that's why I'm asking for your vote.
That's Judge Susan Crawford, protecting our rights, our families, and our community. So on April 1st, help keep Trump and Musk in check. Go to the polls and vote for Judge Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Make the right choice. Vote Susan Crawford on April 1st. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
Elon Musk and Donald Trump are out of control, slashing healthcare and food for hungry kids, eliminating the Department of Education. Now, Musk and Trump are trying to buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, spending millions to elect extremist Brad Schimmel. And if elected, Schimmel wants to criminalize abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. Brad Schimmel, an extreme rubber stamp for Musk and Trump, and wrong for Wisconsin. We need justices who are fair, who know right from wrong. Judge Susan Crawford has spent her life standing up for Wisconsin and keeping us safe. She'll always protect our right to choose, and Crawford will be the check and balance we need against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. On April 1st, vote Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Go to www.iwillvote.com to find out where and how to cast your vote by April 1st. Paid for by Power to the Polls Action Fund, not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
Milwaukee, it's time for a mandate. We Energy has raised its rates 7 times in the last 12 years, and now they're planning new gas plants and extending the life of old coal plants at Oak Creek. They claim it's for economic growth and data center demands, but it's an investment scheme where only shareholders win. These plants have a 10-year lifespan, and ratepayers foot the bill. We need a mandate. No new power plants or coal extensions until affordability is guaranteed for all. Join us at the public hearing on Tuesday, March 25th at 1 p.m. at the Oak.
We're running on a meeting that's going to be held on March 25th. That's next Tuesday. Yeah. As it relates to rate heights that We Energies is asking for. And so to talk about the meeting, we have Mr. Antonio Butts. He's the Executive Director of Walnut Way. Mr. Brian Rogers, Environmental Justice Infrastructure Initiative Director, Walnut Way. On your nameplate outside your office. Melody McCourts. McCurt. Okay, I want you to look at this.
It was a rush job.
That's what you do. She's the Deputy Director of Metcalf Parks Community. Is that Community Bridges?
Yep.
And the EJII Chair. What's EJII?
Environmental Justice Infrastructure Initiative.
That's on my plaque.
Yeah.
Outside of Walnut Way.
That's on your plaque too.
Right.
So let's talk about why there's going to be this community meeting held in Oak Creek. First of all, just so, because some folks were wondering, why is the meeting being held in Oak Creek?
Primarily because the power plant that exists right now, which is a coal plant, is in Oak Creek.
Okay.
But it affects all of Milwaukee. And so essentially right now, We Energies has a proposal in front of the Wisconsin Public Service Commission to develop a new natural gas plant. And under no circumstances do we believe that this proposal should be approved. And it's for a number of reasons that we can get into our conversation today.
So, and we're gonna do that.
Mhm.
But if I'm just, and I am just like just a casual observer, wouldn't we want a natural gas plant as opposed to a coal plant in terms of the environment?
So, I mean, I think first thing to say, there actually is nothing natural about natural gas. That
can't call it what we call
right.
it.
It's still fossil fuel.
Okay.
And maybe we could say it's natural when it's thousands of feet below the ground. Coal is coal is the worst thing that we could be burning for our health
And just
for the environment.
There's no such thing as clean coal.
Right. And there's no such thing as clean natural gas. It's
Okay.
methane gas,
Okay.
right? So when we are burning that fossil fuel, methane gas, it's generating 22 times the greenhouse gas warming effect as carbon dioxide.
So what would that be in comparison to if we're doing coal?
If we're doing
is
coal,
coal is higher.
yeah,
than
coal is definitely the worst thing that we could be burning, but methane gas is the second worst thing that we could be doing
And it
when there are a
makes
lot
it-
of other alternatives.
So it make it a short-term solution for a long-term problem. And so it's a quick fix. There's no real data or confirmation around the actual need for the new natural gas plants. There are sustainability goals that have us focused on renewable energy that We Energies is turning away from and altering their plans around. And so in the midst of all what's going on nationally and understanding that the utility here understands that customers really don't understand their power with respect to what control and influence they can have over We Energies, it presents a very vulnerable time for all of us in this space with respect to We Energies and the plans they have. So it's our intent to make sure that people informed, get educated, and know about this and step in front of this, because the investments that they're planning to make are not grounded in any true fact or reality.
So when we talk about the rate increases, this has been a relatively mild winter, right? Relatively speaking, for Wisconsin. And I'm always amazed that even then they're still asking for rate hikes, even though our energy usage would be down. So this question, how often does We Energies get rate increases? Every time they ask for one, basically?
Well, they've raised rates 7 times over the last 12 years,
Okay.
essentially. So they're pretty consistent with doing so. But then right alongside that, there are a number of other projects, programs that are completely funded by customers. And so customers need to know that everything We Energies is doing, actual We Energies customers are paying for it. So even as you see the commercials that We Energies are running, to talk about the decisions that they're making, customers should know that they're paying for it. So imagine if We Energies is paying millions of dollars to market themselves in a positive way. Is that something customers want We Energies to do with their dollars? Or another example that we often talk about, We Energies has tons of lobbyists and attorneys. Those attorneys essentially work for the customers of We Energies, but it only benefits the utility. So there's a lot of different, issues there with respect to how the utility works and who it really benefits. And what people really understand is that it benefits investors, for the most part, shareholders, and not the actual customers who are being served.
Well, two things on that. I'm gonna get to that little piece of it, but the other piece, I've never understood utilities are monopolies, right? So while you're advertising, who are you competing against? You're not competing. You have a captive audience. If anybody here wants any energy in southeastern Wisconsin, they're going through We Energies, correct?
Absolutely. So there are other utilities around the state, but right, like you said, in southeastern Wisconsin, We Energies WEBCO is the monopoly utility.
Now, utilities are when people are looking, and this is where, how we're all entangled in so many different ways. A lot of pension funds invest in utilities. Being a pensioner, I appreciate that. But there is that dynamic, right? So if you're arguing, well, shareholders, but sometimes shareholders are pensioners or pension funds. So I don't know, can you balance that?
You can balance it. You can balance it by understanding that the utility is guaranteed profits. So essentially, regardless of what operational costs are, they get 9 or 10% of that. So they're $1 billion operation. And not all investments offer opportunities where you consistently make 9 or 10% on your money. So it's completely inequitable, unfair. It's a lot of procedural injustice involved in it. And it lacks transparency for the decisions that the utility is making, and it clearly doesn't benefit the customers. Of all of the customers that they have in Milwaukee, a third of them are low income or in poverty. I mean, so it's an income inequality issue that go along with this. And so in our work, a couple of the things that we're fighting for, and we've been on the air with you before to talk about, is like a percentage of income payment program. So here we are. We've been in a couple of different proceedings with the Wisconsin Public Service Commission to get a percentage of income payment program passed where people pay based on their actual income, not what they use. And this would actually fit folks, right, who fall basically under poverty or in poverty, so to speak. So it'll create a price ceiling for people. This exists in 30 other states. So here you have the utility looking to make a $1.2 billion investment in an ungrounded, natural gas plant in terms of fact and actual need. But in 2 years, we haven't been able to pass an affordability program. It's unconscionable and just shouldn't be accepted. And as customers, we don't have to accept it.
So in terms of what is the state group who regulates
the Public Service Commission?
So now, is there a hearing coming up for the request that We Energies is making?
So March 25th, this upcoming Tuesday, in Oak Creek, there's a hearing at 1 p.m. and a hearing at 6 p.m.
Who's doing the hearing?
So the Public Service Commission is holding the hearing for an opportunity for community members, anybody, to come out and express either their opposition or their support for the project. And so what we've been working on with other members of the Clean Economy Coalition is organizing with communities, with health professionals, with academics, with anybody who's taken an interest in the impacts that a project like this is going to have on people's pocketbooks, on the planet, on public health, to be able to show up en masse to demonstrate to the Public Service Commission that y'all need to do better due diligence on this. You can't just be rubber stamping anything that the utility comes and says that they want to build. The utility stands to make the most amount of money when they do capital investments in infrastructure. And so even while they say like, oh, we're trying to diversify our energy portfolio, if you look at what their actual energy production is less than 3% on wind and solar. Already it's a third coal. Already it's a third of methane gas, which again, they want us to think is natural, but it ain't natural. So the hearing on the 25th in Oak Creek, again, that's where this proposed project is to be built. So people are gonna be showing up from Madison, from Milwaukee, from Racine, from Beloit, like
but the whole issue of fossil fuels and just the impact that it's having on the planet, right? A lot of people don't even realize petroleum is in so many things that we use, primarily plastics, and what plastics are doing to the environment. I won't even get into. This is a different discussion. I heard this statistic that blew my mind. It says that there are more cell phones than there are people. And the issue becomes, how do you dispose of those batteries, right? This idea. But back to the whole fossil fuel industry, where I know under the past administration, there were green initiatives, and it was so demonized, that what do they call it, the green? But man, I mean, I don't think last year was the hottest year we've had on this planet. I would think about that. We're talking about something that's 1 billion years old, right? More than It's been the hottest. We're seeing more violent storms. It's not that, because every year you're going to have storms. It's called weather. But when you look at the frequency of the storms and the weather, and one other little thing on fossil fuels, Oklahoma is always dealing with earthquakes because of fracking, right? So when we begin to talk about the environment, before a lot of us, we don't even think about it because we're so removed from a lot of this. You know, I'm trying to be more conscious of my carbon footprint. You know, like when, and people think this is not a big deal. When Trump came out and said we're going back to plastic straws. Now a lot of people would go like, "Oh man," you know. But when you look at the environment,
I think you're making a really good point, Keith. That like, so whether we're talking about plastics or fossil fuels or straws, in whose interest is it when there is a problem that is deeply systemic? To whose interest or who does it advantage to try and make the solution to that problem an individualistic one?
Well, but because we live in a convenient society, though,
I'm saying though, like if we can say like you need to watch your carbon footprint, individual over here and individual over there, you need to make sure that you're recycling properly your batteries, and you individual over there need to make sure that you are, you know, separating your compost out from your whatever. It's like, okay, yes, people do need to make better individual decisions for sure, but where the actual onus, where the actual burden should be directed is on multi-billion-dollar corporations who have captured regulatory agencies, who have like for decades funded research to hide the actual evidence on the impact of burning fossil fuels, for example, right? It's just the same thing that the tobacco companies did for decades, just misleading the public. And in the case of the utilities, like Antonio was saying, they are using the captive customers' money to fund, right? To subsidize our lungs, to subsidize our pocketbooks so that they can enrich themselves. Right. So I'm just saying a systemic problem requires a systemic solution.
Part of it is that all of us are in some levels responsible for it.
Can I add to this piece right here? Number one, whether it's fossil or plastics, those things are being left and it's going into our bodies. It's impacting our health. So when you mentioned that this was the hottest summer last year, Metcalf Park is a neighborhood that where it's 80 degrees and on the east side, it's 100 degrees in Metcalf Park, right? So our air quality is already poor from historical disinvestment when you have like the industrial corridor with these buildings and these toxins being left, right? That is not the people who live there problem. Those are the folks who left these buildings, and then our officials let them leave these buildings, right? So the same thing is with We Energies, where they have the ability to make better investment, right? So when we think about elders that own homes and they're paying more for their utilities than their medication and their food, that's a problem. That is what $1.2 billion needs to be invested in, right? Folks have been paying in to this corporation that has put profit over people. And yes, it's everybody's responsibility, but I'm a Black woman and I live in a Black community, and I know Black folks is the most reuse, recycling group of folks on this planet, right? So when we really look at what are folks doing at the individual level, they're doing way more than these corporations are doing, and nobody's holding these corporations accountable, but it's playing with our health, our well-being, and our air quality. If folks can't even walk a block right now without passing out or having respiratory issues, what does another plant do to the air quality that's already suffering? So the onus is not on the people, because the people is paying in, the people is trusting these folks, the people is relying on their utilities to be good and not going out, right? But at the same time, these utility companies are making a profit and damaging the earth at an alarming rate, although folks are still doing what they can. See, I amplify and uplift what folks are doing in their wheelhouse. If they can recycle, that's great. If they can reuse, how many times you done seen a spaghetti bowl be reused for everything in the household, right? Folks are reusing plastic, right? And these corporations aren't doing anything but saying, hey, we want to make more profit. We're going to build this thing that we know will kill folks in your communities. So we're paying for them to kill us, to harm us, to disrupt our earth, disrupt our planet. That's the bottom line. And we have the right to show up on the 25th and say no more, to say, we energies, y'all not doing right. Do we need another energy company that is going to go with alternative ways to provide utility that's not harming, killing, and disrupting our health and our environment?
And on right alongside that, we have to pay for the existing coal plant that's going out of service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost $500 million.
So when you say we have to pay for it, what do you mean?
So before this initiative to do this development, 10 or 15 years ago, the other development was coal-fired plants. Those plants are being retired early, but customers still have to pay the full cost of developing those plants, even though they're being retired early. So although they're not in use, customers still have to pay almost $500 million to cover the cost of those coal-fired plant developments, while they're simultaneously asking for $1.2 billion to do new developments in natural gas.
So what? Where are they proposing to build the new plant?
On the site of the existing coal-fired power.
So are they going to tear down that plant?
They're going to shut down a couple of the different engines and leave a few of them up, but partially it'll be a shutdown.
Mm-hmm. So when you were talking about alternatives, I thought it was very interesting how people believe that business should be about competition until it's their business. And then it's about monopoly, right? It's about control. It's about, and there's been a lot, and this has been I want to say a slow erosion from the inception of the Environmental Protection Agency, which now is being gutted, and all these things. And then there was a couple of things that I think contributed to this. Obviously, Citizens United, that decision, which then just gave, in terms of politics, because a lot of these policies are done by elected officials. Mm-hmm. Who comprises the state board? That how are people become part of that committee?
The Public Service Commission.
Yes.
So it's 3 appointed administrative judges. They're appointed by the governor, and they are theoretically to be confirmed by the Wisconsin state legislature. Currently, the 3 commissioners, so they've all been appointed by Governor Evers. I'm not sure how many of them have actually been confirmed by the legislature. I want to say one of them. And so that's also another tactic that's used by our still Republican-dominated state legislature, is to say they use the threat of non-confirmation as a way to control or influence the decisions that PSC commissioners would make. And so one of the themes I'm picking up from this conversation is like things are deeply interconnected. And so we have a private monopoly corporation that has guaranteed profits and that spend millions and millions of dollars lobbying legislature and filing lawsuits, using their attorneys as weapons. And then the state legislature and the regulatory agency whose job it is to regulate the monopoly utility in favor of the public, for reliability, for affordability, for quality service. You see this nexus where private capital and political power, private capital has captured political power to be able to guarantee interests of profit.
So,
and we know who suffers, right? Melody very eloquently put that out.
So when We Energy says that they're going to do this plant, are they arguing efficiency? And then that efficiency is going to lead to lower rates?
They're arguing that they will be able to produce more reliability. but it's not grounded in any facts. It's not grounded in any reports or research that can verify that in reality. Circling back to some of the things that Melody brought up, we know for a fact that in Milwaukee, just in terms of the outages that we have, a lot of it is due to not maintaining the tree coverage by utility lines.
Mhm.
So how could
We lost power yesterday.
that, the accountability associated with just, ongoing maintenance be overlooked while simultaneously asking for a new plant?
Mhm.
How could a percentage of it payment program based on customer affordability be overlooked over 2 years versus, hey, advancing a proposal and producing, this environment where the ideal is that Wisconsin is going to miss out on something if they don't do it in terms of producing this new plant. And so it's actually not the case. And our goal is to make sure the commission doesn't move forward in a way that creates more damage and harm to We Energy's customers.
So tomorrow it's 2 public hearings.
Tuesday, March 25th.
Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Tuesday, March 25th, 2
Mhm.
public hearings. Now, when people, what can they expect when they go to that hearing?
Well, before the 1 p.m. hearing is going to be a party and a press conference. So we're going to have a rally before the 1 p.m. hearing.
Mhm.
There's going to be an opportunity for folks to come and receive training on how to give public testimony. We got a room set aside for childcare, and there's going to be other activities going on there. It's going to be a very welcoming environment to say, like, yes, this is an important thing that we are against, but like we also have solutions, right? We're also like convening. There's a movement of people who are ready to advance viable alternative solutions. But yeah, what people can expect, there's going to be buses and shuttles and carpools leaving from Walnut Way. There's going to be buses leaving from Metcalf Park, other places around Milwaukee.
Sherman Park.
Yep. And so we're leaving here, between 10 and 11.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. So we got some callers. Carl, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Keith, and good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to say I'm calling from Germany, and Germany is a little bit ahead of America on the environmental crisis. But we as a planet are too far behind. I believe life is over on this planet by the year 2060. I'm done, folks.
Very interesting, because there are people who are going to defer any redress as it relates to the environment. I ain't going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
We always say we're doing it for our kids. What planet are we living for our kids? But the people who are making the policy now figure, I'm not going to be around. So and I know this sounds cynical, but I think that's a reality. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Keith, this is Johnny. This is John.
Hey, John.
Hey, what you just said, I just wanted to touch on, Keith. In capitalism, you do want to look for your kids because that's your own future, and then you want the future to grow, and you want to conserve whatever you got. So then the question, your guest there right a second ago, he said there's other alternatives. So what are those other alternatives?
Yep. So there's no actual silver bullet, but you can have a more efficient, more health conscious balance to your energy composition and not have it focus on investor profits. And those are the facts. And we should all be making informed decisions, especially with respect to our energy infrastructure. And so what's clear is that we're not trying to have a balanced portfolio of sources and infrastructure. We're trying to have a strategy that exists now, or We Energies is driving a strategy that's completely focused on profits, and those profits are guaranteed.
And the interesting thing was,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean that they're just focused on profit?
Meaning that
they are.
But there's no way you can just be only on profit, because you have to do stuff because people can always get their own generators. There's all kinds of things now.
Yeah, but there's not that many generators, and most people couldn't. And at some point, you're still going to need some energy to run that generator. Right. So it's like the debate I have in terms of using my combustion engine lawnmower as opposed to using an electric lawnmower. Right. I mean, the environment, but at some point it still has to have some energy. So if I'm charging the battery, I'm using electricity. Mm-hmm. The brother that called from Germany, though, is very interesting. I had there's a guy I worked with back in this is 80s. And he pointed out, he said, you know what you don't see in Europe? He was from Germany. He said, you know what you don't see? You don't see any loose paper. You don't see any loose plastic. They recycle everything. They're more conscious of it. Now, again, they're not producing as much as their own energy when you start talking about Europe. But in America, there is this kind of came out last month in Black History Month. The brother who came up with the filament inside the light bulb, there's a concept in American economy called design obsolescence. Design obsolescence was done with the light bulb. And basically he did it where it would be 2 times the lifespan of what they were doing. But they're going, no, cut the lifespan in half. You have to buy more light bulbs. It came in the auto industry. We began to see it in the 70s where your car would last as long as the financing. Right.
That also means somebody else is going to come along and say, I want to make mine last longer, so then I'll be able to get a better deal.
Well, the Japanese did. The Japanese began to build more reliable cars. As a matter of fact, I think it was because of Honda that people were starting leasing cars because Hondas would last so long. But if you're talking about a car that's built in Japan or a car that's built in Germany, they had very different environmental concerns. They're still making money. But they have very different environmental. So I think the part of that we live in a society now. You can make money. I'll give you another. Give you another example, John. Your cell phones.
Yes.
Now, prior to, you could basically fix a cell phone. You could.
If you could at that.
Now you cannot. Why is that? Because one or two things. If they can't fix it, you throw it away. You buy a new one. What are we doing with all these cell phones?
Well, they're very technical, too.
No, they're very technical, but how do we recycle it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Right, there you go. And so we live in an environment. That's what I was saying in terms of what we have. What we doing, break? Okay. All right.
Could say one more thing real quick? You need more supply, and that will help the whole thing with price. You can't lower price without more supply. That's what I was trying to say. And you can always clean it up. You can demand good, clean stuff. And they want to work with you. They do want to work with you. So you need more supply.
Who's
and you can demand good, clean
John, who's they?
Our energy went out tall. Our energy, a balloon got caught in our...
Who's they?
Took our whole energy out.
Okay, all right.
That analogy,
have fun, thanks.
All right, man.
That analogy you were bringing up about the obsolescence is, in the utilities with the plants retiring is called stranded assets. And so the ideal is that the previous set of coal plants would last 20 or 30 years. But the reality is that they haven't. And again, the customer still has to pay for that. So that was an excellent contrast to what happens in the utility space with stranded assets.
All right. So again, if people want to sign up to go down, take the buses down, information, where can they go?
They can go to Walnut Way's Facebook page or Instagram, or the EJII Instagram, or Metcalf Park Community Bridges Facebook or Instagram to sign up. If folks cannot make it in person, they also can submit a public comment. What's the website for the public comment?
So you can go to Power Wisconsin Forward, powerwiforward.com.
So let me thank Mr. Antonio Butts. He said he used to do me down at Laverne Way. There's Brian Rogers. There's Melody McCurtis.
Yep.
All of them with Walnut Way and Metcalf Park. We appreciate that again. That public hearing is next Tuesday, March 25th, at the Oak Creek Community Center Ballroom, 8580 South Howell. Again, if you want to ride, you can give them the number real quick. I know we got to go.
Any of the websites, just Google Walnut Way, go to that website, Google Power Wisconsin Forward, go to that website, reach out to Metcalf Community Bridges. Someone's going to follow back up with you, get you connected, get you engaged.
In an easier way, folks can just pull up to Walnut Way at what time, Brian?
At 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock. Just Google Walnut Way.
You guys gonna come back?
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Can't wait. We need an hour.
Yeah. You listening to Community Voice? We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
Donald Trump is out of control, stopping payments for healthcare and food for hungry kids, eliminating the Department of Education, and letting Elon Musk access your most private information. Now Trump and Musk are backing Brad Schimmel because they know he'll let them do whatever they want. Not Judge Susan Crawford. She'll be the check and balance we need to protect us from Trump when he goes too far. That's why we need Judge Susan Crawford on the Supreme Court.
She was on the dance floor, I stepped to the dance floor, dancing to this slow song, Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. She said, that's my favorite song, I said, that's my favorite song. Bumping and grinding, it was hot in here. After that we had a couple of drinks and she said, let's get out of here. So I took her to her car, followed her to the crib. She told me to come in, now guess what we did? Then after that I didn't see her for a while.
That voice you hear is that of Mr. Lenny Williams, and he's joining us online. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You know what? And I wanted to pull it up, and I know if they could find it. I wanted to start off that Tower Power song. So very hard to say.
So very hard to go. Ain't
Oh
nothing
man.
I can say,
Oh.
nothing I can do. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
But what I really loved was your voice and how your voice played off that horn section.
Yeah.
Man, and I can remember back in the day that every band, if they had a horn section, they was doing that song.
Yeah. Well, I used to play trumpet, so yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, see, now you got the producer back here, man. He back. Don't start crying, man.
Feel good, Doc. Feel good.
Oh my God, man! You are a legend, man, and it's just been amazing. When I was in college, man, I was listening to you when I was a little guy. I hate to put it that way, but I was listening to you. Oh my God, turn it up a little bit, man.
Even if it's me.
Even it's me. There you go. There you go.
So appreciate you. You're gonna be here tomorrow as part of the Blues Festival here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
You've been to Milwaukee before, right?
Oh man, I've been to Milwaukee. I've been to WNOV. Yes, right there, the legendary station. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you talk to Debo.
Bring the track down a little bit for me, man.
Bring it
fighting
down.
with it over there.
There you go.
There we go. So Keith alluded to a lot of your legendary stuff, man. When we start thinking about "Cause I Love You" and your days with Tower of Power, but I don't know that Keith is familiar with where you're at right now and a lot of the stuff you're doing. We opened up with your latest track that's out there. And what's the title of that one again?
It's called "It's Yours."
Now I received some text messages on it already, and they say you sound like R. Kelly a little bit in there. They say you sound like Ron Isley in there a little bit there. What you doing, man?
Hey man, I'm just having fun. I'm a musician, so I might do some jazz. You might say Lenny Williams got a new record, and I'm playing my trumpet, or I might sing some opera. Who knows? Yeah, right. So I'm just exploring, different genres of music and having a lot of fun. Yeah.
So you did some work with Harvey Scales. You remember Harvey Scales?
Oh yeah, Harvey Scales of the Seven Sounds. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's our homeboy around these parts, man.
I know. Yeah.
Now the young man that called you, Jermaine Rideout. He is in the industry as well. He's got a hot band in town and travels the country doing shows and so forth. And I think he's looking for that tune where he can feed and send his kids through college too, like you did. How many kids did you put through college?
I put about 5 of them through college.
Off of "Cause I Love You," right?
Off because of and help them all buy houses too. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what you call the music business. Because I wrote the song and then I own the publishing, and so all the young people that are doing music, you make sure you take care of the business side of it.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks, man. How folks sign away, mechanical rights and all kind of different things that they just give away, not knowing that that's where the money is. Jermaine, you were saying, Jermaine?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, my first deal that was offered to me, it was crazy because they wanted 75% of my publishing. And I'm like, what kind of deal is this?
Well, how were you able to be able to control a lot of the music that you wrote based on the pressures that come from the record labels?
Well, I got my big break from hanging out with Larry Graham. And so he introduced me to the lady that became my manager. And so Larry, by him being the one that was controlling everything, he didn't want nothing. He just wanted me to be successful. So he didn't, when my break came, just he gave me a good pat on the back and said, "Go get him." And he didn't want money. He didn't want publishing. He didn't want anything. He just wanted to see me be successful. So I was just very blessed that the person who got me really started and was a part of my success didn't want anything but this to see me prosper and be a success.
Songs come out and people, but it was really, I know certainly for me, it was the Kings of Comedy and Steve Harvey. This is Steve Harvey, right?
Yes,
doing that
right.
song "Cause You Love Me," and I was going, "That's a Lenny Williams song." But it's amazing sometimes. But it also talks about the timelessness of good music.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, right. Yeah. So me and my friend Michael Bennett wrote that song, and we wrote that. I was still in Child Power when I wrote that, but I knew I was going to be leaving, so I said I'm going to save that song for myself. So we wrote that song in 1974. We did it the first time we did it was at Motown, and we didn't have the talking in it. And then about a couple years later, we put the talking in it, and bam, here I am on that WNOV. Yes, right. Yeah.
Who were some of your musical influences, man?
I grew up loving Sam Cooke. I listen to all the quartet singers. I love Sam Cooke, Lloyd Price, Little Richard. You name them. Clyde McFadden. Listen to all the different groups that were out. Jerry Butler. Curtis Mayfield. Those are people that inspired me. And
sound like a whole lot of Chicago, a lot of Chi-Town in there, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, but all that great music was coming out of there. Yeah, right. And so just turn the radio on, and we had our station out there, KWBR, similar to the WNOV, black radio, right there in the hood. And I'm listening to it every time I could get a chance, and get the education and get my singing lessons. Yeah.
So, Mr. Williams, let me ask you a question. You have kind of ventured into a different style of music, if you will, from what you were traditionally doing. When we look at Southern Soul and the style of music you're doing now, when you like the tune that's playing behind us, Somebody Else, which has turned out to be a great record for you, a big record for you in the Southern Soul genre. You also have I'm Sorry I Didn't Know It Was Your Mama. Are you writing these, man? And just is this where your mindset is these days?
Well, sometimes I'm writing these songs, right? And so what happened is that disco came out, and so wasn't necessarily doing that. And I did a little bit of it, and so just trying to see what's going on. So I started going down south after I left Child Power, and I was realizing that there was this music that was going on. Even if you did up-tempo music, it wasn't the same as when Denise LaSalle would get up and do her song, or Betty Wright, or Tyrone Davis. And so I started listening to it and learning and trying to learn how to write it, and then I just began to.
Did we lose him? Yeah, it sounds like we lost him. We'll work to get him back on the line. But yeah, this is the genre of music that he'll be performing on tomorrow night. Of course, as you know, the 12th annual Milwaukee Blues Festival will be happening on tomorrow night. Got one heck of a lineup for you there, Keith. If you look at the screen, we do have it on screen, just to kind of give you an idea to know exactly.
I'm about 30 feet from the screen.
Yeah, well, so I'll help you out. Of course, it's the Blues Is All Right tour. It's Southern Soul and Blues at its finest. Okay, looks like we've got him back. But again, that's the 12th annual Milwaukee Blues Festival happening tomorrow night right here in Milwaukee at the Riverside Theater at 8 p.m. Now, I do believe that there are tickets still available on that lineup. You have none other than Tucker. You have what that boy named Pokey Bear, Mr. Lenny Williams, Theodis Ely, Wes Love, she's new on the scene, and then of course Mr. King George, another phenom that is burning up the trails, if you will, out there in the Southern Soul industry. Mr. Williams, are you back with us?
Yes, sir, I am. Yeah, right. Technology, right? Yeah. So it's like you see something happening and you want to be a part of it. So I was like, this is the coming out of the South, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And so I had to kind of learn how to write the songs, the subject matter, the beats and everything like that. And And so here I am. I'm on the blues tour, right? I nudged my way on in there.
Debo was asking you about, where your mind was or where your mind is at this point in your life and in your career. So I got to ask, so where was your mind when she took my draws?
Well, my mama's from Arkansas, my daddy's from Louisiana, and I got a couple of sisters and a bunch of girl cousins. I used to hear them. I always tell them, "Yeah, girl, when you get you a good man, you bury his jaws in the backyard, and you don't never have to worry about him leaving." And so, some of that good old Southern mother wit. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I thought I'd write about it. Yes. Yeah. So
does that work? Did it work, man? I mean, did it work?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was asking you, did it work?
Well, me and my wife been together 48 years. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll check with my wife because next year will be 30. See if she buries something in the backyard. I gotta go and check my drawer.
She ain't gonna tell you about it.
She ain't gonna tell you about it.
Mr. Williams, let me ask you this, Mr. Lenny. What's the best part? Now I know collecting that check, that would be the answer that most folks would give. But what's been the key and what keeps it fun for you being in the industry as long as you've been in it?
Well, just get the chance to get out and I got a cousin there in Milwaukee, and I get a chance to see her. So what this music business has afforded me is to be in touch with my family. And, when I traveled around, I was just in Oklahoma City, saw some of my family last week. And so I'm close to my family. I'm meeting new people. I get a chance to hang out with young people, which keeps me young. So when I'm hanging out with Tucker and Pokey Bear and King George, people like that, it just keeps me young, keeps ideas flowing. And it's just, just a blessing to be around people and make people happy. And, I'm humbled by it. Yeah.
Great. Keith?
No, I'm just man, it's great always hearing your voice, man, and certainly the music and the impact that you've had. You've seen the transition where we go from the blues now, do we call it Southern Soul?
Southern Soul and blues. There's still blues out there, but this genre is heavily Southern Soul right now. And Lenny, you're kicking butt and taking names. I can't say what I wanted to say, because we on that radio. But man, just a great job.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say about Lenny, he's always accessible. Anytime we look for an interview, or Mike and some of the guys that we have in common, we reach out and what have you. I thought Lenny had me blocked, but he said it was too early in the damn morning because we were 2 hours ahead of him. So he said, I wasn't up yet, man.
Beauty best. It's my beauty best, right? Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna help you. Lenny.
Yeah, right. I'm looking in the mirror. It didn't help too much right now. Yeah.
Again, anything you want to say to us as we begin to wrap up, man? I know you're here tomorrow, so you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, but we have a great show. Yeah, I stay and watch the show every night. It's awesome, all the performers, and we're really looking forward to it. And I just like to say, it's just an honor to be on WNOV, a legendary station that's been around for, wow. I've been doing this about 53 years or 54, and WNOV was going back then. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come, and I appreciate the support that you give me. And I want all the fans to know that I appreciate their support, and I don't take it for granted.
And Mr. Williams, you said a mouthful with that 50 plus years. Certainly, the other part of that is still black owned and still black operated. So that's the part that we're proud of.
Yeah.
Keith, you want to say anything?
No, I just want to really thank Mr. Lenny Williams for taking time out. He'll be part of the 12th annual Milwaukee Blues Festival. I get it right?
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be down at the Miller Highlight Theater.
No, Riverside Theater.
Riverside Theater.
Riverside Theater.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
Riverside.
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
so you're near the river.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, again, doors open I think the doors open sooner than that, but I believe showtime is at 8 p.m. They don't really specify doors opening. But again, once again, on the billboard tonight, Tucker, King George, Pokey Bear, West Love, Theotis Ely. You stand up in it, man. And of course, the one and only, the legend himself, Mr. Lenny Williams. Keith, go ahead and wrap us up, man. This is your show,
Oh, no, but I appreciate you. Mr. Williams, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Keith.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let me thank Michelle. Let me thank Debo. Let me thank Jermaine. Let me thank Antonio Butts. Let me thank Mr. Brian Rogers, Miss Melody McCurtis, and Mr. Lenny Williams for all being part of the program. Callers, we appreciate you. The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.